While Earth's climate has changed throughout its history, the current warming has not been seen in the past 10,000 years. Scientific information taken from natural sources such as ice cores, rocks, and tree rings, and also from modern equipment such as satellites and other instruments, all show the signs of a changing climate. From global temperature rise to melting ice sheets, the evidence of a warming planet abounds. Hello, my name is Carelio. I'm from class X-8, absent number 25. And now I have the privilege from Ms. Sarin to show you my recount text about climate change evidence timeline. The Industrial Revolution kick-started massive carbon emissions. Before the Industrial Revolutions, human-caused carbon emissions were low, primarily from deforestation for agriculture and burning wood for heating and cooking. Most of the carbon emissions were natural, such as volcanic eruptions, wildfires, and decomposition. But since the Industrial Revolution, CO2 levels have risen exponentially due to the burning of fossil fuels. This led to current levels that are 50% higher than pre-industrial levels. This connects because the effect of the Industrial Revolution is climate change. But then the effect of climate change changed the history of humanity forever. First, in 1985, 3 scientists from BAS reported low levels of the ozone level over the South Pole. The world was shocked. Compounds called CFCs or chlorofluorocarbons, normally found in fridges or ACs, were responsible for the ozone level. This led to the Montreal Protocol or the Montreal Convention, which called for the reduction and then the total ban of CFCs. This protocol is one of the most successful global environmental policies in the 20th century and helped raise global awareness about climate change. The Paris Agreement is a legally binding international treaty on climate change. It was adopted by 196 countries on December 12, 2015, and then entered force on November 4, 2016. Its goal is to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius compared to pre-industrial levels. After that, in 2004, when Professor Pete Scott, a scientist in the UK Met Office, published a paper in the scientific journal called Nature, showing that climate change had doubled the risk of the 2003 European heatwave that killed tens of thousands of people. His findings led to a growing environmental movement called extreme event attributions. This is where researchers point to an extreme weather event and use climate modeling to say whatever the likelihood of that event happening in a world without climate change. In the end, scientists in the year 2021 predict that the world will reach 1.5 degrees Celsius of heating in the year 2040, far more earlier than initial warnings. This level of heat will lead to more intense storms, droughts, heat waves, and even floods. It is not too late to prevent further heating of 1.5 degrees Celsius through drastically reducing carbon emissions in the next decade. The 1.5 degrees Celsius target is crucial because beyond that point, climate change tipping points become more likely. The tipping points are when rising temperatures trigger cascading events with dire consequences. In conclusion, the timeline of climate change evidence shows how human activities, especially since the Industrial Revolution, have accelerated global warming and disrupting Earth's natural balance. From the discovery of the ozone hole to the increasing frequency of extreme weather events, scientists and researchers have continually revealed the urgent need of global action. Agreements such as the Montreal Protocol and the Paris Agreement shows important steps to protect our planet. But the fight for climate change is far from over. Immediate and collective efforts are essential to prevent us from reaching dangerous tipping points and to ensure a good future for the rest of the generations to come. In my personal opinion, climate change is either not feared or not really well known by the majority of the population, because climate change doesn't just happen in a fraction of a second or in the blink of an eye. It's a process of decades or even centuries. For example, the cause of climate change is the Industrial Revolution. That was 3 centuries ago. And then we first felt the effects 2 centuries later, in the 1900s. That means there's a time span of decades or even a couple of years between the causes and then the effects. But also back then, news outlets don't really show that major weather events were the cause of climate change. Before, there was just extreme weather events, not classified yet as climate change. That's why most people don't know climate change, because back then, news outlets don't connect that extreme weather events are the cause of climate change. That means that people aren't aware of climate change back in the day and are just known that climate change really exists.